Hey up guys, Billy here again. Right, this project is a nice, simple project. And here I was sent in this base camp mask, which is really good, if I'm perfectly honest. A little bit of a discount in the description for you. Really comfy and does the job. Health and safety at its finest. Look at that fine looking man there. I bet you're all saying, Billy, take the mask off, we need to see you. So anyway, let's get on with the project. Less of the self-promoting malarkey. So I'm using a piece of 4x2. I won't call it a leftover piece of 4x2, but it's just a piece that's been sort of perched against that wall there. And this is a gift for my little nephew, Isaac, who loves these handmade toys. Like, if you've been watching my videos, you will have known I made an aeroplane, I made a set of dominoes, some cars, a boat, and he's been sort of the recipient of most of them, and he absolutely loves them, plays with them all the time. So this is going to be like a Christmas gift for him out of a 4x2, and it's something all you guys should try. And I think every kid needs sort of toys that can, you know, let their imaginations run away with them, and you know, that kind of thing. And let's face it, it's much better and much more thoughtful than the shop made stuff you get. And you know, it's something you've made, it's something personal, and it's something, you know, it's more, what can I say, more enjoyable to see a little smile on a face when you give him, you know, an handmade toy, something that you've made. And that goes for any sort of gift that's maybe for someone older. Try making something, get out in your garages, get making and get thinking and creative. So here's the pieces sort of chopped up into the various sizes, and I'm just going here with sort of matching the grain. No specific reason, you don't have to do this, but I'm just doing it anyway. But this could be painted, stained, whatever you want to do with it. So I'm just marking it here and just getting it in some sort of order, and some more marking. It's just a bit tricky because I've got to work out various parts for it, and I'm actually making the parts for it to go with it. So it's like I've just got to get all my dimensions right. So I'm just taking my time and a little trial and error just to get it right. So I'm just putting these upgrades onto the Evolution table saw. So a dedicated wood blade, because the blade that come with the saw was a multi-material blade. And I've got a riving knife, like one of them shark fin lower riving knives to go with it. I've still got to put the zero clearance plate on it. Yeah, which I'll do that in upcoming videos. You'll see me do that. So that goes on nice and easy there. And I've opted for a 40-tooth blade because I think that's sort of like a good compromise between sort of, you know, for ripping and for cross-cutting. Let me know, guys, what blade you use on your table saws, how many teeth, because I know it's open for debate. That I know it can spark a bit of controversy. So I'm just splitting this board in two. This was a little section of 6x1 I had, and I'm just splitting it in two. It was another piece that was up against that wall there, so it was a bit of leftover wood, this one. I'm just taking it nice and slow, just with the cut. With it being a new blade, I have made several cuts on it before this to make sure the blade's nice and safe. What I should be doing there is having like a featherboard tight up against it, which I have got a featherboard. It's just arrived, but it was just after this I shot this video. But just take your time, and that cut that really nice. So it's time for a bit of hole sawing. So with that, I ripped that board down you just see me cutting, and then I'm just making like some little discs here, which I'm going to be using for wheels. So you're starting to get an idea of what I'm making. So rather than buying them off Amazon or anything, I just thought I'd do it this way, making myself. And that also works a treat. So one thing I did buy were these little dowels. Hopefully Santa brings me one of them dowel cutters for Christmas. So if Shelley, if you're watching this video, you know the script, girl. So again, more marking out. And this is a basic project, but it was so enjoyable to make. It was just it was a real pleasure to make this. I mean, I like all my projects, but some projects I like more than others. And this was one of them, even though it was so simple. But it's one of them so simple but effective projects. So I need that to spin in that hole, and that's just about perfect for what I need. So now I'll go in and I'll cut the holes now to accept the axles, because that's what them dowels are going to be. They're going to act as like axles. Any guesses, guys, what I'm making yet? It's not a car, it's not a truck. So I'm just marking here now. I'm going to be, I need some cuts, and I've got to really make sure I don't get any tear out on the other side when I go through with the forcing a bit. So I'm just, the last bit remaining holes here I'm cutting with this drill bit for the axles. It looks like that drill bit's moving. It's got a bit of drift on that thing, but it hasn't. It is solid. I know these can get that sometime, these little Bosch pillar drills, but you know, you see it there a little bit better. No, it's okay. I thought it must be my eyes as I'm watching it back. So here's where I'm measuring, marking out now for where I'm going to be using the forcing a bit. And guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're watching, please do us a favour and subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, it helps the channel massively. And you can now become a channel member and get me over on Patreon. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. I think I'm on about 7,300 at the time of filming this, and I think, you know, it's time to sort of start pushing the channel a bit. So as you can see, I'm just really am taking my time going through here, and what I'm trying to create is a little tiny hole on the opposite side, so I can then turn it round and go in from the opposite side. And I managed to get every single hole perfect on the old project, so I was over the moon with that. Normally I'd have one or two that would be sort of, you know, got the tear out sort of thing, but I'm really happy with that. So it's a case now of sort of rinse and repeat just right the way through the project with this. Again, just take it nice and easy. Make sure your fingers are not going near that bit. So a little bit of shape in here, and I'm just going in with the Temple Tool saw, Japanese saw. There's a link down in the description for this as well if you want a bit of a discount. They are absolutely amazing. You know, you've heard me raving about these. They are really good. And a bit of shaping. I think you're all getting the idea now of what I'm making. And this is a skill I've got to sort of get to grips with. I know it looks simple, but it's not as simple as it looks. So on this little bit of scrap wood here, I'm going to be putting a chamfer all around everything. So I'm just using a bit of scrap there to get my depth right, just to make sure it looks right. And believe it or not, if it's a fluke or whatever it is, it worked first time, and here I am, happy about that. So I'll just go around everything. Now everything gets a little chamfer around it just to soften the edges. And this is steps that you don't have to take, but you know, put a bit of pride into your work and just go that extra little mile and get the details right. Even though it's a real beginner project, this, have a bit of pride in it. Make yours be the best, if that makes sense. And you could easily sell these. This might be one of them projects I might in the New Year's, you know, take a picture of them up professionally and stick on Etsy and see if I can sell any. I'm sure they would, because sort of parents love these wooden toys for the kids. So I'm just saving some of this sawdust back for something I need to do just a bit further on in the project. So everybody asks me how my tools like stay shiny and new looking, and this is why after every time I use them, I give them a good clean down and wipe over with a rag, you know, get the blower on them. So everything gets finished to a 180 grit. And here, these wheels, I just needed to get them a bit smoother, and I just needed to get them, you know, bits of the fluff and all that off them. And I just sort of was improvising and trying different things with this sander. And it seemed to work right. I mean, I know it's sort of like, looks counterproductive because the wheel's spinning the opposite way, but it does take that rough edge off. And I'm using a bit of a dowel to press into the hole up against the sandpaper there. So I'm just making a little mix now, like a filler mix with a sawdust and some glue. And then just get them glued onto the axles any old way. But just take your time, make sure there's none of that glue sort of on the inside of the axle, if that makes sense. So I'm just leaving a couple just to, you know, dry up and just see how they come out. And I've done the rest of them there and left one side free just for one side to dry off completely. And then I'll trim them all to the sizes I need and then glue on this side. So delicate, these saws. You know, when you get a tool sometimes and they're, you know, a pleasure to use, that's what they're like. So I'm just going cleaning sort of excess glue off now. And I'm just drilling little pilot holes for some hooks and eyes that go onto each side. So you probably guess what I'm making. I bought these hooks and eyes. You got sets from Lidl. They had like $2.99 a set, and it was all different sizes. And I've had them a while, and they've just come in handy. Now, if you're making these to sell, make sure you do something that's really safe here. You know, you're thinking of small kids and that, and I'm just making sure get every bit of sawdust off. Now, like I say, you could paint these, but I'm just opting to clear lacquer this and use the prop out respirator when you're using sprays. And it just gets a couple of coats of this, nothing major. So it's a little train set I've made him, little basic train set out of a 4x2. and a bit of 1x6 for the wheels. But there's a little engine at the front, and then you've got like 4 carriages there. Is it 4 carriages? Yeah. And it works a treat, and I'm sure he will absolutely love this. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of it. It's something a bit basic. You can add to this. You can put a funnel on the front, that kind of thing. Paint it up, put little figures on the inside, that kind of thing. But I'm sure he'll enjoy this. I really enjoyed making it. So give me your feedback, guys. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Makes me want to get on a train now. Thanks for watching, and on to the next one.